Alright guys, we gotta get baby blue ready to go to the track. So this has gotta come out, and this subframe has to come out, because we need to put solid bushings in here. A little bit of work ahead of us, but we can do it. That's Ryan. He's being shy. We don't want to run these solid ones with that much power right now, and if I'm clutch kicking with this much power and this much rubber, like a stickies we'll have it set up in Washington, or I'll break these rear covers. Drifting's kind of bad on everything, so I'm gonna swap the subframe out so I can put. They're made by Turbo Fun, and I'll show you when we install them. But there's Deburring bushings, so there's a tiny bit of movement, so it won't break driveline parts. Be a little bit nicer for some stuff. And it appeared that we had a rear main seal leak. Seems like we have something leaking inside there behind the clutch. Let's hope it's not leaking where it mates with the oil pan, because that's then you'd have to really pretty much take the pan off. I don't want to have to do all that. So let's hope it's leaking on the rear main seal only, and then that's not the worst to get to or get out. So we're gonna dig into it today, see what we end up with. Whoa. Alright guys, first off, we brought Fu over here from Toyota. What's up guys? He likes stop by sometimes. He also has a Supra's over there. We did the rear main seal kind of the most ghetto way you could do it, where I like pounded on it until it fell inside, and then I got a pick and I yanked it out, so I didn't have to replace or take this off and replace the RTV, because it didn't seem to be leaking from like this seam here. It was like leaking up over it and kind of sitting on the shelf of the RTV, and I yanked that part off. Kind of not what I would normally do, but this is a practice car and it's just gotta keep driving. I don't think I love it as much as the other car, and all the parts on it are hand-me-down. So we think it's good. We're gonna drive it obviously for a while before we go to Washington. So now, gonna put the ACT clutch back on. This one also runs the ACT triple, same as the Pro car, but it got like hand-me-down parts from the Pro car, so it was like a rebuilt many times. Gonna put that back on, and then we're gonna start mounting the Samsonas in this car so that we can be a little more competitive, and then we'll start testing drive shaft lengths and see if we have one of the other drive shafts I had from the previous transmissions that went through this Supra. See if I have one that works for the stock diff. If not, we gotta get one made, but it's worth it for this round. Okay, we had the idea that this would be super easy to go in, but the other transmission sat at a less of a steeper angle, tilting back like 2 degrees possibly, and this one sits at about 1 degree. So as we pushed up, all the intercooler piping, the intake pipe was pissed off, didn't want to line up. We had to undo everything, loosen it to get the trans to go that extra like 1 degree by the time you're back at the tail shaft where the mount is. Then the mount itself doesn't line up perfectly, so we'd have to ovalize the holes in this mount that we made. That we're not doing that, so that would be stupid. So otherwise we'd make another mount. But it's just weird that it's off. This car was a bent car before a little bit. Kind of actually more bent than that in a different way, but like frame rail bent, not strut tower bent. So possibly it's like moved like this way, or, you know, maybe like this is pushed in more on this side, or this is a little bit by like a 1/4 inch. So then by the time you get back here, it's misaligned by a 1/4 inch. We're not 100% sure on either of what is going on, but we might just decide not to do this because it's gonna open up a bunch of problems, but if we're gonna not think about it right now, we're just gonna work on inspecting the Andrews. Yeah, I'm gonna open up the Andrews and then work on this stuff over here where we're gonna drop the subframe and get ready for that. And then I think I need to get new brake pads because right now this has used brake pads in it out of a Supra we dismantled. It deserves new brake pads, maybe rotors, we'll find out. So now we're making a ratchet strap mount. That might be what we'll just run that, huh, Joe?
Yeah, I think this constitutes as a drive shaft loop as well because it like encompasses the yoke. You know?
Looks really unsafe, but I guess.
How so?
I guess if we tighten the motor mounts, it could hold it for this second. Here, just tighten those back up with that guy. And then I'm gonna go over and crack open the Andrews. If the Andrews is good, it doesn't feel great though, it feels a little bit so-so, then I will run it if it's okay, but if there's something messed up, I would have to buy something for that. I'd rather just run the Samsonus because the Samsonus is way easier to drift with. Okay, we're in, guys. So what we're looking for, something messed up. The dog rings for first and second look super legit. This transmission looks pretty happy actually. 3 and 4 dog rings. I don't know if you guys can see it. See the rounded edge on that? Here, let me put it in 4th gear. So see the rounded edge? The dog ring is like shot going into 3rd. Needs a new dog ring for 3rd. And that's it. Might need a slider. Yeah, we need a gear wrench light. We do need a slider and a dog ring. Minimum, we need a dog ring. Other than that, it looks like new. Good. Maybe we just do that, huh?
Yeah.
I would rather drive with the other transmission, but then we'll just put ourselves against all the odds against us.
It just adds another element that we don't need.
This adds another element of difficulty though, because like you can't, like that transmission, the ratio is like here, look. So we'd be like first is the same, second is a little higher on that one, and then 3rd is basically right where this one second is. 4th is a little, third's a little different than this one's second. 4th is about where this one's 3rd is, and then 5th. So it's like adding another ratio in the middle of all the mix. So now it's like everything's got to be perfect, but then we also don't have a winters. So by doing that, it's like that was gonna help us a lot, and then this is like
Hindering you.
Yeah.
A bit. Just a bit.
Well, we have 3 things: diff that hinders us, trans that hinders us, and motor that hinders us. It's like against all the odds. If we do this, 3rd gear has a lot of heat in it.
How did you drive it last year? Did you enter in 5th?
No, I was always in 4th. So that would be like going in 3rd with this one, so we could set it up that way. But then you can't really set it up that way because we have less power. So it's like, if you try and think the gear game, you can't think it because we have way less torque and power. We gotta think about this, guys. We'll talk to you soon.
Hi everybody. So, Yesterday we pulled out the rear subframe, and the reason we did that is because it had these solid bushings in it, and we want to go to, we're gonna try some polyurethane bushings. They're Strong Flex brand bushings, and Dan's prepping a new rear subframe right now. Hey Dan, what are you doing?
Just paintbrushing with gasoline. Scared me. Yeah, I like cleaning things with gas, then I'll paint it.
Gasoline does the best job. We're putting wastegates on the car, and we're gonna try and run the pipes out of the hood this time rather than putting them out of the bottom like they were beforehand. So we just took the wastegates from the Pro car, threw them in there. We'll figure out the actual hoses and stuff afterwards, but we're gonna switch to hard lines as well. See how it goes. We've never tried them before, so we're gonna give it a shot. That's all we got going on right now. Dan's waiting on parts for the transmission that's sitting over there, and there's lots of work to do.
A lot of cool stuff happened. I just ran back in a circle. It was really cool.
Oh, that's cool. Good job, man. Now you can work on your
We
car.
took this, yep, the subframe out and put a different one in, and we put turbofan polyurethane bushings with a metal insert in there so that the diff can kind of move a little bit. They're pretty stiff, but if you did a major clutch kick or slammed a gear hard, you're less likely to break the diff, which we don't want to break, so that helps us out. And then we put battle version solid subframe bushings in there. We got those at Drift Motion. Coming to the front of the car, we've been installing some pieces. We put the water inlet, the Rad Industries water inlet, and the water outlet on here. -16 upper, -20 lower. We went with black so that we can promote the black ones on this car and the silver ones, the billet like machine look ones on this bent car. I'm sorry, it's bent. And then we also switched over to the Hypergate 45 Gen V, which has better flow, and it's been working great for me on the Pro car all season. So we need this car to work like best it can during this next round. So we need the flow on these gates to be perfect. So we switched out to these new ones, and we're gonna build new hard lines from the gates. We'll do that tonight. Joe will finish this up probably tonight while I do the hard lines, and then that gives us a little bit more efficiency with this exhaust manifold that wasn't perfect for like gate priority. So this helps us a lot by doing this, because these Gen Vs are really good. And another thing is these have been on the Pro car for 4 rounds already. Not a hint of fading, because they dialed in their anodizing. Whatever they did, it's working great because it's not fading. Before it would fade a little bit. We're gonna have to cut the hood a little bit different to do this, and then we'll cut these, slash cut them so they look more aggressive. But we got this stainless tubing from Treadstone. It's pretty nice material here, easy to weld. We're still in the build process, but that's where we're at. And then I'm gonna reinstall all the front stuff later tonight, and then Joe will work on that. And then we're still waiting on the slider and the faceplate for the Andrews box. And then I think there's one other detail I'm not thinking of. Then Renee's gonna rewrap it, and then we gotta go to the dyno, and Ian at Bend Calibration's gonna really dial this in so it's as close to a Pro car as we can get it with what we have, because we gotta be as competitive as we can in this chassis. It's not gonna be that one, but it'll be pretty close. In the meantime, we're gonna head over to Chris and Ryan's shop, Chris Forsberg and Ryan's shop, and we are going to look at that 2JZ swap NASCAR, and we're gonna help Dylan and Ryan out a little bit. And I'm actually not sure what we're doing, so let's go find out. Something to do with the 2J motor in the NASCAR. All right, guys, if you haven't been here, here we are. There they are. Let's surprise them. Yo! Hey! What's up, guys?
just looking at 2Js.
Can I be filming? I won't use it till after you guys use it.
Is this like TV that we're doing right now?
I think.
Here's the guy from TV. Got the guy from TV over here.
So we did some stuff over here.
Yeah.
We
What
met-
did we do? Yeah. We
talked about TJs and colors and looked at a motor.
We all decided that we're
But
very
this
undecided.
is how cool it is. You guys can check it out on their episodes, but I had to see it for myself in person once. What do you have to say, Dylan?
I don't know. I want one. That's all I have to say.
That's all he said.
I want to hear some limiter.
Yeah, like and subscribe. Limiter.
Subscribe.
It'll be soon. Bouncing limiter and the NASCAR. It'll spin these, right?
I don't know. Maybe. Oh, I don't know. Big tire, dude.
Yeah, it'll do.
Those are all cracked and dry rotted and.
Oh, well.
Those are good. Oh, I know. Those put the new ones on.
the drag tires, yeah.
Those are so sticky.
This thing looks so sick. There's some 18s on it, like it. Dude, like you're 315 on the back.
Jeez! You still gonna run all those MSD boxes?
What?
Look at all the MSD and
See all that
ignition.
stuff over there?
Decisions. Make it blue.
I'll probably just, make it blue. Leave it.
Alright. Let's go back to the shop. We're back, guys. So we had a small detour, Blackout Garage. We were looking for Chris. He wasn't there because Chris is in Europe. But we saw Ryan, we saw Dylan, we saw Kenan, we saw Dayton. It was good. Now we're back. We're here with Gear Wrench. So, some of you guys have used one of these flaring tools before. This particular one does inverted flare and double bubble flare and normal flare. So, we are just going to do normal flare because we're going to be mating it to AN lines. And if you didn't know, AN line's a 37-degree flare. This is probably a 37, but possibly they have 45 also. Either way, on the 45 one like this, it'll still mate with a 37 degree on like enough of the overlap surface, it'll stay tight, because my other one that I had used previous before I had a gear wrench flaring tool was really old and crappy, and that one would work. So now that we got this really nice cool kit, you guys can get this too if you're interested in knowing what it is. Oh, my sticker's trying to come off. It's called the Double Bubble Flaring Toolkit. You can't touch it, Joe.
Okay.
Maybe you can. Okay, so now I'm struggling to bend some tubing from, I can't see this. Good, problem solved. I need some magnetic lighting from Gear Wrench. So, you can see that -4 AN down there. Let me put my thumb on it, right there, down there. Needs to go and mate with this one up here. So the idea is connect this one and this one at the top, then they're one and the same. And then we'll take this plug out, and that will be our feed for, we feed in here, like from the boost controller to control boost, and then it'll just travel right through over to this gate too, so it's less hoses, less hosiery. Then, oh, it's Ian Sell. Ian's our tuner, we gotta go. Okay, so that was the man behind all the noises from the JZs that you guys like so much, Ian, at Bend Calibration. He's just making sure I'm kind of on top of everything. He'll always follow up and be like, okay, like as we get closer, you need to check this, and keeps me in line on certain things. I'm usually pretty like focused, but Ian helps. I'm still gonna work on these lines, but right now I'm gonna try and do some bending. Use this little hand bender. So this is 1/4 inch tubing, so I'll be using this rut right here. So this is like a triple die in one. Die is where you bend the metal on, so we'll be using this portion of the die, and then I'll make some bends. I already did a 90, but I need a little bit over 90, and then I need to kick it back this way, so almost like an S. And so then, if you guys are familiar with AN lines, if you want to do a hard line to an AN line, you need a tube sleeve and a tube nut. Okay, there we go. Tube nut, tube sleeve. The thing about these is you have to have it on and out of the way before you flare it, and you have to leave enough room that the flare tool can like grab and hold this part of the pipe stationary, the tubing stationary, and then flare the other end. So the Gear Wrench one is actually pretty low profile, so I only need probably about 1/2 inch, it looks like, of space that isn't on a radius, because you couldn't clamp the pipe on a radius. You would score the edges and it would probably mess it up. And then this kind of interlocks with the pipe running through, or this thing running through the pipe, and then you just come down, bam. Okay, back at it. Oh crap!
Oh boy.
That's not gonna want to come back off good. You guys were there, you heard it. Ah, it's a flute party. Don't bring your violin to the shop, Joe.
Sorry, man.
So, it's a little too close for comfort. I think we gotta go a 1/2 inch back. We're changing the style on this one. We needed more excitement, I guess you could say.
Think those are long enough?
No.
Kind of like them like that.
You could leave them long, but you can't let the inside one be longer than the outside one. Hey, watch the paint, sir. Watch the sawdust. It's a carpentry shop now, guys. Just grind that sawdust in. I just wanted to show you guys that. Talk to you later. Intercooler's back in. Just made this AN line out of the heat exchanger into the motor. Plumbing's back together. And Joe's cutting holes in a piece of cardboard for the aluminum. That's for the aluminum plate. Then I have to get back on the hard lines. I got sidetracked.
Dan's pretty tired, if you can't tell.
Coolant, and we need oil. Yeah, I think I was monotone right now. You guys are used to it though, right? Maybe not. I'll cheer up. Front of the motor's done. Wrapped up all the front. Then we come over here. I had to take that dump tube out and I put a 90 down there and a 45 right here, so it would be easier. Like here's 45, there's a 90. Then all I have to do is bend this piece of tube and this one basically at a 90 to go up into, instead of it'll do like an S shape like I was gonna do, I just have to bend a 90. This was my first attempt and I was like, this is way too complex, and it was hitting the other gate. So I'm gonna stop on this one and start back over with these. I'll have 2 matching ones and I'll show you as I build those right now. This was not easy. Reason being is this die was not tight enough for the space I was working in. So I tried all kinds of different stuff. 4 tries. Then I said, okay, you know what? No more tube bender, and I bent it by hand over a 1-inch piece of tubing. That's more like a 1.5 inch die. This is what we ended up with, guys. So I still had to bend it and then bend it back away. There's no other way to make it work. It'll work perfectly fine, but they're not exactly symmetrical. No one said they had to be, but I just like things to look more symmetrical if I can. It'd be perfect if they could do banjos, but I don't think these gates, since it's MPT thread into where you can't do banjos. So we got it done. It was tough. I had to do a couple tries. Tired now. Learned a couple things, and then all that plumbing's done. The rest of the motor's done. I just need to put some Torco oil in here, some SR5R 2050, water and water wetter. So I need to go to Walmart right now and get some distilled water. Joe's gonna make the surrounding bezel, put some more powder coated black mesh aluminum in there, and we'll have our new hood set up. Oh, WinMax gave me some new brakes. They're not the same ones I run on the Pro car because I run a stock NA caliper on here. I got a new rotor that I ordered, so I'll do that. And then we got some W3 WinMax pads just for the handbrake For the foot brake, doesn't really matter. In the rear, you don't really need a lot of foot braking, so I'm gonna get some brand new stock pads from like AutoZone or something. That'll get me by this round. The goal is to go there, qualify, and do my best in the battle. It's not gonna be nearly this car. This car is crazy. Could have put that motor in there and gone through a bunch of hassle with a bunch of stuff. It made new charge pipe and all the other stuff, and it's just too much stuff to do. I don't have the time or the energy for that, so, and we got to do customer car stuff so we can pay rent here, so not right now, guys. We're gonna make it happen with less horsepower. Okay, well, this hardline is difficult, but this gear wrench tool really helps out. Made it easy, and it has all different accessories, and everything works good with this guy. It also does a lot more, so I'm not even utilizing like all its capability, but for what I did do, it was pretty easy. I forgot to show you guys, it comes with this deburring thing too, so you can, after you flared it, you can sit there and spin this and deburr it if it had any burrs, so that it seats good and doesn't mess up your seat when it mates with the AN male. But that is that, and we are done for the night. Till tomorrow. Good night.